TNT friends, welcome back to another video where today we're going to do another product review. Now if you're anything like me, you're 5 years older than you were 5 years ago, but some days your knees and your back feel like they're 10 years older. And also if you're like me, you've got a garden who produces weeds better than it does vegetables and you're falling behind on the weeding. So I was out there the other day and I pulled a few weeds, sitting down on the ground, pull some weeds, get up, move over, get on my knees, pull some more weeds, get up, move over. So I said, I've got to do something different. I've got 2 gardens now and I just can't keep up with that as far as my knees and my back goes. So I want to find a better way. So let me show you the product I picked up. We're going to unbox it, we're going to assemble it, and then we're going to try it out on the garden and see if it is a marked improvement over the alternative, which is on your hands and knees or just sitting on the ground. Stay tuned. So here's the box that I got from Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description. There are a ton of different variety of these, but at least this link will get you started on something similar. This one happens to be from Sunnydaze, which I'm pretty sure I've reviewed some products from Sunnydaze before. Lawn chairs and maybe something else. Can't remember. But anyways, today we're going to be unboxing and assembling an extendable steering rolling cart with seat. So this is essentially a garden cart with 4 wheels and a handle and a chair, and I believe a basket that you can pull out to your garden or your flower bed, and you sit on the seat, and when you're ready to move on further down the row, you just grab the handle and roll the cart and sit back down instead of sitting on the ground directly or on your hands and knees. But anyway, without further ado, let's get a knife out and let's open up this box and see what's inside. So here we go, taking a look at what's inside of the box from Sunnydaze. And I'll tell you, this box was heavier than I anticipated. This will hopefully be a fairly beefy cart. If I remember the description correctly, it said it's good for up to 300 pounds in weight, which has got me covered, fortunately. So you can see first out of the box is a fairly stout wheel, 1 of 4 obviously. And then we've got our handle. What else is going to come out of here? We've got another wheel. Now this particular model comes in a variety of colors. I think you can get it in black, green, blue, and red. And I went with red because it matches the barn and my toolbox and pretty much everything else I've got. But it does look like it does come with a basket. And more wheels. Looks like an oil tray. We'll figure out what that's for in a bit. A frame, a fairly solid frame. That's pretty heavy. And it looks like in this wrap is also the axles. And then lastly, an old-fashioned tractor seat. So this gets mounted on the top. So let me get this cleared up and get everything out of its plastic wrap, and we'll start the assembly process. So here's a closer look at everything that came in the box. And trust me, the irony has not been lost on me that I am going to be on my hands and knees building something that's going to keep me off my hands and knees. But let's crack into it and get this thing together. So real briefly, we're going to touch on the instructions that came with it. It says owner's manual. Here you go. 1 page of less than stellar installation or assembly instructions. So hopefully we'll be able to get this figured out. I think we'll be able to do it. But there's not even anything on the back page. They completely wasted that opportunity. But anyway, let's get started seeing how to put this thing together. I think I'll start from the bottom up. First thing we're going to try to do is attach this belly pan to the underside of this frame. So in order to attach this, we've got to take this piece, which there's one welded on the front but not on the back, and then two of the small flat plates, and then we've got to find the appropriate bolts in the bag. Now there's one thing in these instructions that I find curious and somewhat annoying from a detailed perspective, but it shows a number of screws. So in the images it doesn't show any bolts. It shows screws, and there are no screws, there are only bolts. So that level of detail is a little bit lacking, and it reminds me of a project that my daughter just got done working on with a group in her senior project at the University of Kentucky, where they designed a pastry press, and I think their manual was probably 100 pages of details and drawings and everything. I'm sure they didn't make the mistake of showing screws when it was bolts. And as I'm putting this together, last night we attended their graduation ceremony, and I met one of her teammates who happens to be a fan of the program, or TNT, and that's Drew. So hello Drew, shout out. I told you I would call you out in one of my future videos, so it was a pleasure to meet him as well. But they did an exceptional job with their senior project. Far better in quality than using 3 of 4 pages, one for a picture and one left blank. So kudos to you all on the great job you did, and congratulations on graduating from mechanical engineering, and hopefully you all will be designing the next generation of these things. They'll be a lot better than this one. So let me go ahead and get this tray assembled, and then I'll check back in with you. So there we have the belly tray all assembled and attached to the frame. The next thing we're going to do is find the rear axle and put on a couple wheels. I don't know if there's any air in these yet or not. We'll find out. But when we go to install these, we'll be installing them with the valve stems on the outside, just in case they run low on air. Make it a little easier to fill them up later. Here's the rear axle. I do believe we need to put a couple of these spacers on. Or do we? I think we do. And if I can find some big nuts. Also not a great design feature, I don't think, is running a round axle through a square tube. But we'll see how that plays out. Let me go ahead and get these tightened up, and then we'll go on to the next step. So you may have noticed that I am now sitting in a lawn chair. For the very reason why I'm building this thing, it is hard on the knees to crawl around on a concrete floor. But right now I'm attaching this flat plate. I don't know if it's going to show up in the video, I'll try zooming in on it. But essentially it attaches to both the front axles so that when you turn it, they will turn at the same time. I do note I'm going to have to spray some silicone grease in these bearings because they don't turn fantastically just yet. Dang it. So after installing the tie rod, I installed this bracket here, which is to attach the handle to at some point. Now, not particularly clear in the instructions is it installs over the tie rod under the frame, and with any of these 4 bolts, don't tighten them up too tight. So what I would recommend is tighten them up to just snug and then back them off or loosen them off a 1/4 turn, because if you tighten them too much, then this whole assembly won't turn when you turn the handle. All right, very exciting step. We are at the point, well, I went ahead and put the front 2 tires on, but now it's time to attach the handle. Now, in the instructions, it's attach, A-T-T-C-H, attach the handle. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to attach the handle. All right, it is now time to attach the seat. So the seat is adjustable. It's on a screw. You can rotate it to increase the height and rotate it the other way to decrease the height. And I would recommend at least turning it up a few turns when you go to install the seat so that you have space to get a wrench onto the nut on the bottom. But at this point, we're just lining up 4 holes with 4 holes, and then we're going to install those 4 bolts. So here it is, all assembled. After I did the seat, I put the little basket on the back, and it is now ready to rumble and take out in the garden. At the end of this video, I'll actually show you some garden footage of me using it to weed some rows out there. But it went together all right. Again, the instructions are pretty pitiful, but it is fairly heavy actually, but easy to move. Now the handle is extendable, so it's comfortable for somebody 5'10" to move around. And then you can re-engage the lock. That's the total length of the handle there. But we'll get some outside shots here in a minute. All right, so it's beautiful and sunny, but that's only going to last for another hour or so according to the weather. So I'm dragging my little new cart here down to the garden where I'm sure it's still too mucky to try to pull some weeds. I'll definitely be able to show you some weeds. So here is my row of air quotes peas. And you can hardly see them coming through because of all the weeds. But it looks like my potatoes are winning the battle over there. So we're going to start with the pea row right here in the center and see if we can't make some progress before the rain comes. So while I sit here and show you some clips of me down in the garden using this little Sunnydaze garden cart to help me pull weeds comfortably, keeping me off my hands and knees successfully, let me tell you what I think my final grades are going to be. Birds are crazy loud here today. But anyway, first of all, on the assembly instructions that came with it, the owner's manual, definitely giving that a solid D. Wouldn't have taken much additional effort to make a double the quality product there. At least take advantage of that blank page on the back and double the amount of illustrations or details you're providing. End of the day, it went together pretty well. As far as the quality of the product itself, I'm going to, I think, be a little bit generous and call it a B-. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. It works fine. But when you're putting it together, there's not quite perfect alignment. You'll see some wheels, some bearings work better than others. You're definitely going to want to spray some silicone or WD-40 spray on all the bearings and all the connections, just so it works the best it can. At the end of the day, is it going to hold up? Yes. Is it going to hold me up? Yes. Is it going to make gardening a better experience when it comes to weeding and planting? Absolutely. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a B-. Now, you may be able to spend more money and get a higher quality product, but at the end of the day, these aren't cheap, and this may be the level that you're interested in purchasing at the end of the day. You can spend $500 or more and get something that's top quality but doesn't actually work any better, or you can go with some model similar to this one at a fraction of that price, still be content, but recognizing it's not quite perfect. But anyway, that's going to wrap up this episode of Try New Things. It's starting to rain, which means my weeds are going to grow even more before I can get out there and pick them, but I'm still going to show you in this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye. And bye, Drew. Thanks for watching.